Hi, I'm Finn.
And I'm Nance.
Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're doing a deep dive into flipping items for profit, thinking about 2025.
Yep. We've been digging through a load of info to give you the inside track, finding those, potentially profitable opportunities and smart ways to manage your money.
Exactly. And this isn't just about making a quick buck.
No, not at all. We're going to break down how to spot things with hidden value, get a feel for the market, and, explore different ways to really boost your finances.
Thinking beyond just the flip itself.
Right. We'll touch on some side hustles, maybe even some strategic investing stuff, too.
Yeah. Our research pulled up some really interesting categories for flipping, some solid ideas for other ways to make money, and the basics of risk and reward.
Which is always important.
Totally. Okay, so let's dive into the first bit. The art of the flip. Is that old saying, isn't it? One man's trash.
Is another man's treasure. Absolutely. And the first place to look, based on what we found, right in your own home.
Makes sense. You might have stuff just kind of lying around that someone else would actually want.
That old lamp, maybe some clothes you don't wear, could be anything.
But you can't just list anything and hope, right? Research seems absolutely key here.
Oh, definitely. One source we looked at, Salehu, they have this market insights tool.
Okay, what does that do?
Well, it's pretty detailed. It lets you filter by platform, are you thinking Amazon or eBay?
Ah, useful.
Yeah, and then you can analyze key things about the product, like how often does it actually sell? What's the average price?
Competition, how many others are selling it?
Exactly. Stuff like sell rate, average price, competition level, number of listings. It's all in there.
So the idea is to check if something's actually worth selling before you spend any money. Validate the idea first.
Precisely. See if there's real demand, a real chance to make a profit.
Okay, so what categories looked promising for 2025?
Well, first up, toys and games.
Right, kids always need toys. But is it bigger than that?
Apparently, yeah. The market was huge in 2022, $291 billion. And it's projected to hit almost $470 billion by 2027.
Wow, that's massive growth. Why though?
Well, part of it seems to be nostalgia. Gen X, millennials wanting vintage stuff, collectibles. Analog play is coming back too.
Interesting. And profit margins?
Pretty good, potentially. Somewhere between, say, 30 and 80%.
Because new toys can be so expensive.
That's the thinking. People look for good quality used ones, especially limited editions, rare stuff, action figures, old Lego sets, vintage video games.
And where do you sell those?
eBay and Facebook Marketplace seem to be the go-to places.
Okay, what else?
Seasonal items, that was another big one.
Yeah. Buying off-season, selling in-season?
Exactly. It's all about timing. Profit margins here, maybe 20 to 70%.
So you grab stuff cheap when it's on clearance, maybe on Amazon or eBay?
Yep, like camping tents in the winter. Then comes spring when everyone wants one.
You list it for more on Amazon, eBay, Facebook Marketplace. Smart. It's predictable demand.
Exactly. Capitalizing on those predictable shifts.
Okay, so toys and games, leverage trends, seasonal leverages, timing. What about practical stuff?
Tools and equipment came up too.
Makes sense. People always need tools.
And the interesting thing here is they don't need to be brand new. Used tools hold their value if they work well.
Right. Profit margins.
Estimated around 20 to 60%. People often look for used power tools to save cash.
Any particular brands?
DeWalt, Makita, Milwaukee were mentioned as popular ones.
And sourcing. Same places.
Pretty much. eBay, Facebook Marketplace. But the key advice was test them, clean them properly.
And be upfront about any flaws, right?
Absolutely. Note any defects clearly. Builds trust.
Good point. Okay, one more flipping category.
Home decor items.
Oh, that's a big market online, isn't it?
Huge. Back in 2020, it was like $114 billion. And nearly a third of that was online sales.
So big potential. Margins.
Around 30 to 60%, potentially. The focus is on finding unique stuff.
Like mirrors, lamps, decorative bits.
Exactly. Things with a bit of style, sourcing from thrift stores, Etsy, eBay.
And again, calculate your potential return before buying.
Always. Crucial step. Selling platforms mentioned were Facebook Marketplace and Etsy.
Okay, so besides looking in your own closets, where else can you find this stuff?
Well, ask family and friends. They might have things they want to get rid of.
Good idea.
And keep an eye on the free stuff section on Facebook Marketplace. You never know. Might find a gem.
True. Okay, so that covers flipping pretty well.
Okay.
But we said this dive goes broader.
Right. Let's talk about other ways to bring in some income. Diversifying.
Because while flipping can be great, Maybe you want more than one thing going on.
Yeah, it's usually wise. So our sources mentioned gig work, helping people locally.
Like stuff you see discussed online on Reddit sometimes, doing odd jobs for neighbors.
Exactly. Cleaning, running errands, that kind of thing. TaskRabbit was mentioned as a platform for that.
That offers flexibility, right? Set your own hours.
Generally, yeah, choose your tasks. But you might need some initial outlay, like buying cleaning supplies.
And sometimes there are waiting lists to join those platforms.
Yeah, that can happen too, yeah. Worth checking.
Okay. What else came up? Something a bit different.
Donating plasma was mentioned.
Right. Maybe not huge money each time, but consistent.
Potentially, yeah. If it's something you can do regularly, it could be a predictable, smaller income boost.
Okay, so flipping, local gigs, plasma. Now let's shift gears completely. Strategic investing.
Yeah, let's look at peer-to-peer lending, P2P.
Okay, explain the basics. What is that?
So essentially, it connects people who need to borrow money directly with people who want to lend money.
Cutting out the bank as the middleman.
Exactly. It's all done through online platforms. Sounds modern, but the idea isn't totally new.
Really? It goes back further.
Oh, yeah. The research mentioned examples way back, like pre-industrial France, local lending circles.
Wow. So the internet just scaled it up massively.
Pretty much. Made it global. Apparently, the founder of one early platform, Zopa, was inspired to create an alternative to banks.
Okay, so what are the potential upsides for someone lending their money this way?
Well, a few things stand out. The entry point can be low. Some platforms let you invest in like $25 chunks.
So you can spread your risk easily, diversify.
Exactly. Plus, the potential for higher returns compared to, say, a savings account. And you often get monthly income from repayments.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
But what are the catches? What do you need to be careful about?
Definitely need to be careful. Diversification, like you said, is really important. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Choose the platform carefully too. Do they differ?
Yeah, they often specialize in certain types of loans, and probably most important, focus on lending to credit-worthy borrowers.
People with good credit scores, low debt relative to their income.
Right. Low debt-to-income ratios. And, check how transparent the platform is about how they choose borrowers and what their past default rates look like. That can tell you more than just the advertised return.
Makes sense. What are the main risks then? Because higher returns usually mean higher risk.
Absolutely. The biggest risk is default. Most PDP loans are unsecured.
Meaning there's no collateral like a house or car.
Exactly. So if the borrower can't pay, you could lose your investment on that loan.
What else?
They're not very liquid. Your money is often tied up for the whole loan term, could be years.
So you can't easily get your cash back early if you need it.
Generally, no. And finally, it's sensitive to the economy. If things go bad, more people might struggle to repay.
Right. Economic downturns are a risk factor.
Yeah.
Okay. One last thing mentioned was IRA friendliness.
Ah, yes. Some platforms let you invest through an IRA standard, Roth, even 401k rollovers.
Which gives you tax advantages.
Potentially, yeah. Earnings can go straight into those tax-advantaged accounts, which can be a big benefit.
Okay, so whether it's flipping, side hustles, or P2P lending, it really sounds like understanding risk versus reward is fundamental.
Totally. That Investopedia source really nailed this core idea. The risk-return trade-off.
Basically, higher potential profit often means higher potential loss.
That's the gist. Less uncertainty usually means lower potential returns. More risk, more potential reward, but also more potential downside.
So how do you figure out the right balance for you?
Well, it comes down to personal stuff. Like, how much risk are you comfortable taking? That's your risk tolerance.
Okay, what else?
Your time horizon. How long until you need the money? Years, decades.
Like for retirement planning.
Exactly. And also, can you afford to lose the money if things go wrong? Your ability to replace lost funds.
Right. The source mentions some specific ratios too. Alpha, beta.
Yeah, 3 key ones to get your head around. Alpha, beta, and the Sharpe ratio.
Okay, break them down. Alpha.
Alpha basically measures if an investment beat its benchmark, like the S&P 500. Positive alpha means it did better, negative means worse, 0 means it matched.
So it shows if it outperformed on a risk-adjusted basis relative to a benchmark. Got it. Beta.
Beta shows how much an investment tends to move compared to the overall market. A beta of 1 means it moves with the market.
Lower than 1 is less volatile, higher is more volatile.
You got it. And a negative beta means it tends to move opposite the market. You can usually find beta figures on financial websites for stocks and ETFs.
Okay. And the last one, Sharpe ratio.
The Sharpe ratio helps you figure out if the return you're getting is worth the risk you're taking. Measures risk-adjusted return.
So higher is generally better if you're comparing similar investments?
Generally, yes. It tells you how much extra return you're getting for the extra volatility for each unit of risk.
So if you're looking at, say, two P2P platforms with similar returns, the one with a higher Sharpe ratio might be managing risk better.
That's the idea, yeah. It suggests you're getting more return for the risk involved.
So understanding all this risk, reward, these ratios, it's crucial no matter what you're doing financially, flipping, investing, whatever.
Absolutely. It's all about making informed choices that suit your own situation.
Well, this has been really useful. A proper deep dive into making money in 2025.
Yeah, we covered a lot. Flipping strategies, side hustle ideas, P2P lending ins and outs.
And getting to grips with that fundamental risk-return idea.
It's interesting how it all connects, doesn't it? Finding treasure at home, diversifying income, weighing up investment risks. It's all part of managing your financial picture.
So the takeaway for you listening is maybe to think about your own situation. What resources do you have? What's your comfort level with risk?
Yeah, what stuff might you have lying around that could be flipped? Are you open to trying a side gig?
Or maybe now you understand the risks and rewards a bit better, you might look into something like P2P lending.
Think about how that risk-return balance applies across all these different options. What really clicks with you?
And what's maybe one small step you could take to explore one of these ideas further?
Definitely worth revisiting some of these concepts. Maybe do a bit more research on specific platforms or marketplaces that caught your eye.
Loads of potential out there. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, great stuff.
And hey, while you're thinking about all that, subscribe, like, comment, and turn on the bell.
See you next time.